How you doing? My name is Antonio. My page is Unapologetically Black AD West from YouTube. I ask that you like and subscribe to the page. And I would like to show black people that you continue to live under Jim Crow here in the Milwaukee area. Here in Wisconsin, Milwaukee is the most highly black populated city out of all the counties. Out of 72 counties, Milwaukee County has the highest sales tax at a 7.9% sales tax.
No. So we now have a new county sales tax that, as you said, will be 0.9, just under 1%. And we now have a new city sales tax based on the vote earlier this month in the Common Council. So the full sales tax in Milwaukee will be 7.9%, just under 8%. And then in the county, it will go to just that additional 0.9%.
So just understand, the same as tariffs are a means of tax on foreign countries in order to promote or depromote purchases or commerce to a specific area, sales taxes is used just the same. Sales taxes is used as a means in order to prevent people from selling products in various areas, because people tend to travel or go to the areas that carry the least amount of sales taxes, which adds on to the cost that you spend on your products, similar to tariffs due to foreign countries.
Investor Warren Buffett has sharply criticized the American President Donald Trump's newly imposed tariffs, calling them an act of war.
So what the neighboring suburban areas is doing is using the higher sales tax in order to draw business out of Milwaukee. Our Milwaukee mayor is an idiot. And he is a black dude who is being used as a tool to promote gentrification by helping economically castrate the inner city.
In a televised interview, Buffett highlighted the negative consequences of tariffs, warning that they may ultimately act as a tax on goods that consumers in America will have to bear.
So when you understand this higher number of sales tax charged in the black community, and you compare it to Donald Trump's current policies of tariffs, then you understand that these high sales taxes were the means to extract wealth from your community while simultaneously promoting people not to shop in your community.
And all of this money, the county facing the same situation as the city, the pension obligation. So this money raised here by raising the sales tax will go to fill that obligation that could take another 30 years. But
I just need you to understand what Warren Buffett means when he say that tariffs are an act of warfare.
Wisconsin has the dubious distinction of having the highest black male incarceration rate of any state in the country. And when you look at the incarceration of women, we have the second highest incarceration rate for black women as well.
Just looking at hyperlocal Milwaukee's 53206 zip code, having the highest incarceration rate of black men in the country is 62%.
People came to Milwaukee for those high quality manufacturing jobs, family supporting wage jobs, but 52206 is an example of what happens when those jobs are no longer available.
I don't think it should have went up. We pay enough taxes now anyways.
The hardest pill for many taxpayers to swallow is learning that this will help pay for the county's underfunded pension liabilities to the tune of $760 million.
That's not fair, especially somebody who isn't even receiving pension. So it's like, oh, we're paying out.
As part of Trump's trade strategy, a 25% tariff will be applied to goods imported from Canada and Mexico. Additionally, tariffs on Chinese imports will rise from 10 to 20%. And economists predict that this will increase prices on everyday items like cars and electronics, making them more expensive for American consumers. Now,
That is the purpose of the higher tax rate. It incentivizes people to shop outside of your community, a community that is already economically deprived. If black people don't wake up and realize that you're still under Jim Crow and you're facing economic castration on a continuous basis implemented by your own governments, then you are very much asleep.
Tonight, the 5 counties surrounding Miller Park have been paying the 0.1% sales tax since 1996.
New at 6, 12 News' Nick Bohr is live at Miller Park, where the stadium board just finished. And how much longer could the tax go?
Well, Terry, you probably remember that a few years into this tax, there was a projection that they might be able to pay off that $507 million in debt, at least pay it down enough where they could end that 0.1% sales tax by 2014. But based on the figures they're getting now because of a downturn in the economy and a slackening in the collection of that sales tax, they're now saying maybe 2016 or even 2017 might be more realistic.
I need us to understand that sales tax is just one of the many ways that Europeans have in order to abstract wealth from the black community to subsidize the lifestyle of white people.
Later, the stadium board meets regularly and has paid off $266 million in construction costs and debt expenses with sales tax money. But they still need to collect about $244 million. And with sales tax revenue falling as a result of the slumping economy and many internet sales not collecting sales tax, it may take longer than the earlier projection of 2014.
Brewer Stadium is one of those indications where they charged us a sales tax on our gas and products that we purchase in order to fund the Brewer Stadium for a rich white person.
When unemployment rates are exceptionally high, you see what you see in 53206, unfortunately. We're one of only a handful of states that spends more money on our Department of Corrections than we do on the higher education system in the state of Wisconsin.
And what do you think that says about just the issue of recidivism and making sure that there are things put in place that people are not breaking these rules to get sent back to prison?
It's really helped to destabilize the black community, made it so that a lot of children are growing up without their fathers in the home with them because they're incarcerated in the prison. And it's something that really hasn't been driven by crime.
And I want you to understand what it means for us to lack the comprehension of what we are empowering with our consumer dollar.
I don't want to pay for the stadium. I mean, I don't even go there. I've never even been in there since it's been built, so you shouldn't have to if you don't even have the money.
So for you, even a small amount is too much?
Yeah, of course.
The sales tax, which amounts to a penny on every $10 of a purchase, was approved by the slightest legislative margin, and Racine County Senator George Petak was booted from office over his vote in favor of it. Now, more than a decade...
We're unfortunate knowing that all communities need revenues, Johnson told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, responding to comments by the Washington County Executive pointing out the new sales tax hike. If folks are looking at a higher quality dining or a theater or a fine dining experience, they can come here or go to Cracker Barrels. This mayor is ignorant about the average income of people in America, and this is the black man, so he's very ignorant about the fact of the varied income of black people in America, where we can barely afford groceries. We're fighting for a higher rate for minimum wage to be raised at $15 an hour. So how is this a city of finer dining?
Investor Warren Buffett has sharply criticized the American President Donald Trump's newly imposed tariffs, calling them an act of war.
If Milwaukee is the city of fine dining, I ask for who? Because the average black African-American household income is $37,961. I don't know many people generating that amount of money for a household can afford to do fine dining pretty much often.
As part of Trump's trade strategy, a 25% tariff will be applied to goods imported from Canada and Mexico. Additionally, tariffs on Chinese imports will rise from 10 to 20%. And economists predict that this will increase prices on everyday items like cars and electronics, making them more expensive for American consumers. Now,
So you take a community that's economically struggling already, and then on top of that, you charge them higher sales tax than the neighboring counties, pushing businesses outside of that Milwaukee County community and forcing us to have to go outside of that community and be overly ticketed because black people are ticketed at higher rates. And so the more you drive, the more you gain the risk of receiving tickets and fines, and especially the more you drive outside of your community.
I'm very cognitive of what I empower. I understand that what them increasing sales taxes goes to and who it empowers, not our community.
New at 9 is local governments across the state say it's harder and harder to find money for police, EMS, and roads. Local and state leaders are announcing a plan to direct more funds into your community.
Madeline O'Neill live in Milwaukee with where that money is actually coming from. Hi, Maddie.
Well, right now in Wisconsin, when you spend $1, 5 cents of that goes to local state sales tax. But with this new plan with bipartisan support, 1 penny of those 5 cents of every dollar would go to a special fund and then send it to communities across the state. Also part of this legislation is an option for added local sales tax, both here in the city of Milwaukee and Milwaukee County.
As part of Trump's trade strategy, a 25% tariff will be applied to goods imported from Canada and Mexico. Additionally, tariffs on Chinese imports will rise from 10 to 20%. And economists predict that this will increase prices on everyday items like cars and electronics, making them more expensive for American consumers.
No. So we now have a new county sales tax that, as you said, will be 0.9, just under 1%. And we now have a new city sales tax based on the vote earlier this month in the Common Council. So the full sales tax in Milwaukee will be 7.9%, just under 8%. And then in the county, it will go to just that additional 0.9%.
Listen, this mayor is an idiot. Him being black means nothing. He's an idiot and he's not for black people. Why would you want to have the cost increase in your city for the average person to go out on the town? Why do you think that that's okay for it to be more expensive?
The progress we've made is notable. In fact, it is unprecedented in modern history.
It's proposed change driven by Democrats and Republicans alike.
What we're announcing today is the single largest investment in local governments in the history of Wisconsin.
Sharing the same hope to boost shared revenue. That's money that goes to the state, then is shared with local governments. The formula has been frozen for about 20 years.
Communities across the state have been sounding the alarm that the demand for local services is beginning to outpace their ability to pay for those services.
Wisconsin Assembly Republicans unveiled a plan to transfer 20% of the state's 5% sales tax into a savings account that will fund local governments, and a minimum 10% boost to every community in the state.
Our mayor, he is a black man, but he is being used as a tool in order to help economically castrate the black community. This dude is an idiot, man. And that response was stupid. You have a community with so many abandoned, unused restaurant and storefronts, and then you're going to raise the property, the sales taxes in your city to higher than the surrounding counties, promoting sales outside of your county. Milwaukee mayor is an idiot. I ain't not going to support him because he's black. This idiot is still working to economically decastrate the inner city in order to force you to get out so they can gentrify themselves and get closer to the water and put you out and walk ashore somewhere where you have to pay access to the water, and they can cut your water off and transfer you somewhere else. You end up with nasty water like Flint. Man, this black dude is an idiot, man.
Defend our rights, keep our community safe, protect Wisconsin values. Vote.
There was a projection that they might be able to pay in